Good morning and welcome to Monday, August 5th. And today we are looking at Exodus 13, 1 through 16. And so this is instructions for a new nation as they depart into the promised land. And they haven't gone yet. So what I always find interesting about this passage, that go ahead and read it on your own, is he's giving them instructions just like he did with the Passover for something that hasn't happened yet. So here's God just instilling faith in them. This is what's going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. But this is how I want you to celebrate. And this is how I want you to live in that. So the first thing that God ordains here is that the firstborn, either man or animal, belongs to God. So they are set apart as a dedication. And so this shows that Israel is God's firstborn. And so that relationship of that firstborn. And finally is a reminder that God redeemed his firstborn Israel from Egypt. Right? And also to think about his firstborn, Jesus is going to come to redeem the greater world. And they are to install a new festival, and so a day of remembering, and that's going to be the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And so again, they're putting into being something that hasn't happened yet, but to have the Feast of Unleavened Bread to remind them what was going to happen. And these things are to remind their children, to let their children know of generations and generations, this is what God did for us. This is how God delivered them. And that's what God wanted them to keep their deliverance constantly aware. They need to be constantly aware of what God did and to deliver them from slavery from Egypt and to turn them into a nation. And it's still in the process of deliverance here, but they believed and they planned for it before it happened. And so lots of times there's things that we are planning for that we need to be prepared for, right? If we want to plan to be an Olympian, we have to go train and we have to watch our diet and we have to sacrifice our time for that. And so that's an example, but that's what God was doing here, is he's reminding them as an example of what is going to happen so that they can remember of God's goodness and his deliverance for them. So maybe there's something that you can be thinking of that God would want you to remember his goodness even in hard times. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. And remember, 5 minutes a day in the Word can change your life.